Here we go. Here's a two-step problem. All right, so what you want to do is subtract 2 from each side and then divide by the coefficient. So you get x equals 2. Okay? I'm going to show you a two-step with a fraction. Okay, so two-step with a fraction. The first thing you want to do is eliminate that denominator of 3. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 3. When I do that, my 3 in my numerator and my 3 in my denominator cancel out, and I'm left with 2x plus 4 equals 36. And then I'm going to subtract my constant, and I get 2x equals 32, and then divide by my coefficient. So I have x equals 16. You can pause the video at any time if I'm going too fast, so you can take a deeper look at the problem. Here's another one with the fraction. So when your fraction looks like this, the first thing that you want to do is subtract that constant. Okay, so I'm left with the fraction equals 8. Now I want to do the opposite. A fraction is division, so I want to do the opposite, so that would be multiplication. So I want to multiply by 2, multiply by 2. My 2 in my numerator, my 2 in my denominator cancel out. I'm left with x equals 16. All right, so those are all two-step problems. Here's another two-step with distributive property. So when you have distributive property, you want to eliminate that distributive property before you start to solve. So I'm going to take the 5 and multiply it by both parts inside the parentheses. So I end up with 5x. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 2 is 10. And now it's a two-step problem that I can solve. So I'm going to subtract the constant. I apologize, I made this answer a fraction, but that's okay. 5x divided by 5 is just x, and I'm going to keep my answer as an improper fraction. Okay. All right, now let's take a look at multi-step equations. As you notice, I always put the line down the middle. It helps with the organization, helps me remember that I'm supposed to be doing something on the left of the equation and something on the right. So I have told you that your first strategy here is to look on the left side of the equation and circle the constant. Look on the right side of the equation and circle the coefficient. Once you do that, you have your first step and your second step of your 3-step process. So let's break this down. So the opposite of adding 2 would be to subtract 2. When you subtract 2, that's a constant, so you want to subtract it from the other constant. Bring down everything you didn't use. 2 minus 2 is eliminated. I didn't use the 7x. -8 minus 2 is -10. Okay. So I did my first step. Now I'm on to my second step. My second step is going to be to do the opposite of that 7x. Well, that 7x is a positive 7x, so I am going to subtract 7x. If I subtract 7x on the right, I need to subtract 7x on the left. Bring down the -10 because I didn't do anything with it. And my last step is to divide by the coefficient. So I'm going to divide by -2, and I end up with x equals 5. Okay. So that's your multi-step. I'm going to do a combining like terms problem. So if I have 5x plus 2x plus 6 equals 8 plus 1 plus 4x. So the first thing I want to do is combine things that are alike. So I want to combine things that are alike on the same side of the equal sign. So on the left-hand side, I'm looking for either multiple coefficients or multiple constants. So I have 2 coefficients here that I can combine, and it's 5x plus 2x, which is 7x. I'm going to bring down the 6 because I haven't done anything with that. And now on the right-hand side, I have 2 constants that I can combine. 8 plus 1 is 9 plus 4x. Now it's a multi-step process, so I can use my multi-step strategies. I'm going to circle on the left-hand side, circle my constant. On the right-hand side, circle my coefficient. When I circle, the constant is your first step. The coefficient is your second step. So let's do this. So my first step is adding 6. So the opposite would be to subtract 6. I want to subtract 6 from the other constant on the other side of the equal sign. Bring down my 7x. 6 minus 6 is eliminated at 0. 9 minus 6 is 3. Bring down my 4x. It's a positive 4x. So I'll bring that down. Okay. Step 1, done. Now I'm on to step 2. Instead of adding 4x, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm subtracting 4x. I subtract 4x on my right hand side and my left hand side. 7x minus 4x is 3x. Bring down my 3. Positive 4x minus 4x, it gets eliminated. So I'm left with 3x equals 3. My last step is to divide by the coefficient. So my coefficient is 3. So I'm going to divide by 3. And I end up with x equals 1. All right, and now the last type of problem that we have is using combining like terms and distributive property and multi-step equations. It's a big one. So let's go. Okay. So when I have all of our tools together, the first thing I want to do is the distributive property. So I will do that first. So I am going to take that 2 and multiply it by everything inside the parentheses. So this becomes 2x plus 6 plus 4x. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take that 3 and multiply it by everything inside the parentheses. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times -4 is -12 or -12. And then I'm going to bring down the -6. Okay. Distributive property is done. Now I need to combine like terms. So I'm going to look on the left-hand side and find the things that are alike. So here I have something with an x and something with an x. So I can combine those two. 2x, and this is plus, 2x plus 4x is 6x. All right, so we have 6x. I'm going to bring that down. Didn't do anything with it. Then I'm going to look on the right. I'm going to combine anything that looks alike. And if you look here, I have 2 constants. So I'm going to combine those. Bring down my 3x. -12 minus 6 is -18. So that becomes -18. Okay. Now I have a multi-step problem. Going back to our multi-step process, on the left-hand side, we circle our constant. On the right-hand side, we circle our coefficient. Those are our first and second steps of our process. So instead of adding 6, the opposite would be to subtract 6. I subtract it on the left, and I subtract it on the right. Bring down my 6x. Bring down my 3x. -18 minus 6 is -24. Step 1 of our multi-step process is done. Now we're going on to step 2. So step 2 is right here, and that is our 3x. Well, it's a positive 3x, so I want to do the opposite, so I want to subtract 3x. When I subtract 3x from the left, I have to subtract 3x from the right. So 6x minus 3x is 3x. 3x minus 3x gets canceled out at 0, and I bring down my -24. Now my last step is to do the opposite of 3x. 3x means 3 times x. So I'm going to divide by 3, divide both sides by that coefficient, sorry. 3x divided by 3 is just x. -24 divided by 3 is -8. And that's it. That's all the different types of problems you've been learning lately. Thank you.